Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Indie Social. This is the premiere of Season 3. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. 3 years of Indie Social. Each year, we try to do something new and interesting. This year, I'm a talk show host, baby. That's right. And we have a special guest for you guys. But first, some community news. I was on Iowa Film today, and I saw something from Paramount. And they are looking for some savvy social content creators that love Sonic the Hedgehog movies. That's right. And Sonic the Hedgehog 2, they are needing some help from content creators. They need people who need to make or know how to make videos, stills, and GIFs. So if you have that creative ability, they need you. And they are willing to pay anywhere between $600 and $4,000. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Michael, did you hear that?
I heard it.
That's right. You can do that.
Yeah.
All right. And what about you? Ooh, Kevin, can you do that?
Nope.
All right. I can't either, but I know you viewers listening can do that. And I have another thing for you guys. Lens Christopher is holding casting calls for host, among other roles. And she's holding these casting calls at Children's Media Space. And these are casting calls for virtual performing artists and opportunities, and they are looking for people specifically interested in people that can do sports, crafts, adventures, music, and social emotional learning. And this is all, again, virtual performing opportunities, so you can stream from home. And let me tell you guys, this is also a paid job. You make $1 a minute, so you can stream from home for 24 hours, 48 hours. That sounds like a long time, but you can make some serious money. And last but not least, Iowa Motion Picture Association and Iowa Screenwriter Alliance, I believe is what they're called, is hosting a virtual workshop. And this is from 10 to 11:30 p.m. on February 19th. And they are doing this for the Hollywood director, Greg Zawowski. I've been doing this for 3 years, guys, and I'm still terrible with last names, but I believe it's Greg Zawowski. And let me tell you something about Greg Zawowski. I met this fella and at the Iowa Motion Picture Awards back in last year, and he was a great fella. I was invited to his table, and you know what? I didn't know who he was at the time, but he was really nice. We had lunch together, and you know what? I was vegan. He told me his wife was vegan. And you know what? We became good friends. We became friends on Facebook. And then by golly, he was the host. And I became a little fangirl. And I just wanted to become even more his best friend and asked him if he could put me in his movies. And he ended up ghosting me. And, you know, this is a true story. But enough of that. I have a fantastic guest for you guys tonight. His name is Michael James Minard. And you know what? I'm going to bring him up here, and we're going to figure out why he's here. Can you come on up, buddy? There we go.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
Hey, so why are you here? Tell us why you're here.
I'm here to chat with everyone here, these fine people. But then also I'm premiering a recent short film I made. It's a sci-fi drama called From the Void. Basically, it tells a story of a father who is looking for his son who has disappeared, but not in the way you might think he disappeared.
All right, and who's the starring?
I specifically wrote the role for Wade Thalberg. If you're familiar with the Iowa film scene, you'll know that Wade's been in great productions all across the state. Sorry. I haven't been doing this for 3 years, so you got to cut me a little bit of slack.
No, I've worked with Wade before, and he's a fantastic actor, and you know, I'm really excited to see him in this because it's been a minute. I know he's been doing a lot with working out and stuff, and so I just don't think he's been doing much lately, and so I'm really excited to see him in this.
Yeah, you did a great job. Yeah, I'll share more stories about Wade when we're on the chairs, but right now doing this deep lunge is kind of making my legs burn. So should we roll the clip?
Let's roll the clip.
All right.
Roll the movie.
Henry? Can you hear me?
I can't see. Daddy?
I'm here, buddy.
Daddy?
Daddy's here. Where are you, buddy?
Daddy?
No. No! 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 Just give me my son! Just give me my boy! Henry!
Daddy?
Henry,
Dad?
I'm here. Just come to me, buddy. I'm here.
I can't see.
Henry! I'm coming.
Daddy?
Henry! Daddy's coming to get you.
I can't see, Daddy.
I'm coming. Just reach for my hand. That's it.
I can't see.
I'm coming. I'm here, buddy.
Daddy?
Henry? Can you hear me?
I can't see. Daddy?
I'm here, buddy.
Daddy?
Daddy's here. Where are you, buddy?
Daddy?
No. No! 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 Just give me my son! Just give me my boy!
Daddy?
Henry!
Daddy?
Henry,
Dad?
I'm here. Just come to me, buddy. I'm here.
I can't see.
Henry! I'm coming.
Daddy?
Henry! Daddy's coming to get you.
I can't see, Daddy.
I'm coming. Just reach for my hand. That's it.
I can't see.
I'm coming. I'm here, buddy.
Daddy?
Hey, are we here? Is it working? Are we live?
I think we're
You
live.
don't hear us? You don't hear me?
You hear me?
Is my microphone on? Am I good now? Okay.
All
Well,
right.
welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Indie social things, audio issues, of course. But nonetheless, we have Michael Minard here. How you doing, man?
I'm good, dude. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, man. So this was sort of a world premiere of your film. You haven't showed too many people the movie. Were you kind of waiting to online premiere it, or what was sort of your strategy with that?
Well, honestly, I was waiting for it to kind of do its film festival run. A lot of festivals, depending on how prestigious or large they are, won't even accept films that have been premiered elsewhere.
Right.
Because they want, of course, new films debuting at their festival. But From the Void, it's pending a few of them, but I think they're small enough to where they're not going to
Have too big of a deal. So after this, are you going to put it online, or do you think you're still going to hold on to it?
I think ultimately all my short films will just end up on my YouTube channel at some point. Like I put Hollow Walls on there, and it's done fairly well. I think it's over 5,000 plays now, and it's only been on there for about a month. So, I mean, I'm pretty happy with it.
Sweet.
So.
Well, cool, man. Again, thank you for coming on again. I know that we've been trying to get you on here for what feels like forever. I think our original first time was, when was it? And then there was like the
sometime
storm.
in December. It was like our first big snowfall or something like that.
Was that it?
Yeah, it was towards the end of season 2, and we had a massive snowstorm, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, or something. Or it was some sort of big storm. Yeah, but then was there a second storm where everyone was like, "Oh my God, it's gonna be as bad as derecho."
Didn't we try twice? Wasn't it a snowstorm the first time, then the second time we had the second derecho? Or
That's so weird.
derecho?
Why'd you say derecho?
I guess I can't say that and last names.
No, it was a beautiful job.
I know, right? You're the first one.
Now, how do you say his name?
Minard.
There you go, man. For the longest time, we couldn't say your name right until one day you called me up on the phone. You're like, "Hey, man, this is how you say my fucking name." I was like, "All right, man, I'm sorry."
That is exactly how
All right, man. Well, let's hear about you a little bit. What kind of started this endeavor into filmmaking? I know you kind of went to college later in life. Was filmmaking sort of like something you always wanted to do but kind of like held off? Or what was sort of your first take at going into film?
You could probably say it started out that way. I wouldn't say I wouldn't say because as a kid I was running around with like my parents' VHS like video camera, and like you could say that like the filmmaking route started then. Like I would run around town making dumb films with my friends because we just thought it was fun. So you could say maybe those like roots started to grow at that point, but really films like short films and now moving on to the feature-length film, which we'll bring up later in the podcast. It really started as stemming from the music industry. So before I was a filmmaker, I was in I was basically played metal music almost full time up until I joined the Army. Was on a couple of smaller record labels, did some minor touring, definitely did my fair share of shows around the Midwest and things like that. So when that started, like it just kind of grew from there. So like when I first got into music, it was like, I want to learn how to write a song. So I learned how to write a song. And then it was like, now I want to record a song, but I don't want to pay a bunch of money to someone to record me. So I'm going to teach myself how to record. So then I learned how to record my own music. And then it was like, now I want to figure out how to make CD artwork because I have this album that I've recorded, but now I need artwork for it. So I taught myself how to do artwork. And then basically just progressed up until I think I want to make a music video. And then I started shooting music videos. And then after that, it was just the sky's the limit. It's like, I don't want to make music videos. I want to make movies. And then it just progressed from there.
And then when you made the decision of wanting to make films, were you in college at that time or no?
Yeah. So when I joined the military in 2013, got out in 2017, I think. The whole time's a blur for me. But then it was like, okay, I have this GI Bill. I know I want to go to college. Like, what am I really passionate about? And I had some things brought up that I was considering, like being a history teacher or something like that. But this, like, movies have always really called me. It's always something I've enjoyed. And at the time, even before I was in film school, I was making music videos for the band I was in at the time. And then, it kept calling to me. I kept getting better at it. Like not sounding, full of myself or something, but like my music videos were doing really well on YouTube and people were impressed by them. And at the time I was even just shooting them on a cell phone. And so with the amount of feedback I was getting, it was like, maybe I should actually get some formal education in this craft, because if I can do this much with an iPhone, like imagine what I could do with, an entire production company or something like that. So yeah, it kind of steered me to make that decision to go into filmmaking and not just selfishly direct music videos for my band.
So then would you say like your goal as a filmmaker is not to necessarily do corporate work, more like making movies is sort of like your vision, what you want to do long term, but are you still kind of doing client work here and there?
Yeah, I freelance for several companies, and like I don't even mind giving shout outs to them. Like Eric Benson and Kevin Thorne at Bus Stop Productions have given me quite a bit of work. I did my internship when I was in college there. So I work very closely with those guys. And other than that, it's more so like word of mouth. So someone will be like, hey, like you're a videographer, right? And I'll be like, yeah. And they'll be like, hey, would you do a music video for my band? So I do a lot of freelance for myself. So yeah, like I stay busy. I also am a writer and producer for KWWL. So that is kind of my 9 to 5. But yeah, I do keep busy with like commercial work. I also have my drone 107 pilot's license. So
Oh, wow.
I was
Jealous of
able,
that one.
I was able to do, like real estate for a while, things like that. But yeah, ideally my dream job is like, I don't even have to be famous, but like, I would just like to make original films full time. So like, even if you saw something on Netflix and you were like, really, that's really good. And then you saw the director and you were like, wait, who the hell is that? Like, I don't even care if I'm that guy where you don't know me. I just
Right.
want to be able to make films full time.
Yeah, so it's been cool because watching your films, man, they're obviously a very high quality, especially like jumping into like From the Void. I know this wasn't your first time making a film, obviously, but that was a relatively small crew and everything like that. Do you kind of prefer to have those smaller crews, or do you enjoy kind of having a big team?
Either way is fine. Basically, the bottom line is I work with people who I trust. And I don't even mean that on like a personal level. Excuse me. Sorry, Dave.
Who's this?
Right. No, there's been so many times, which I'm sure you and Brittany, as being on a production team, like, I don't want to ask you like, hey, is your shot good? Mm-hmm. And you're like, yeah, I got it, man. And then we get back to the studio and it's like out of focus or blurry.
Right.
So I work with people I know produce good quality work. Mm-hmm. So when I ask them like, hey, do you have the shot? And they're like, yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
Then it's like, okay, I know for sure that they have that shot.
So even going more into From the Void, what kind of inspired the story? I know that you recently actually just did a film with Damien that sort of has like very family like heavy on there, like it's people who care about their family. Is that something you like to bring to your films, or is there a reason why you sort of have that topic kind of commonly?
I mean, I haven't put too much thought into it. I think becoming a father just a little over a year ago has kind of like influenced my writing quite a bit. It definitely has involved more like dramatic storylines involving children in them. So like the short film that Damien and I did, his daughter is elsewhere, and it's kind of based around the plot point of this COVID-19 has gone the complete opposite direction. Like, right. It's very, very serious. It's, kind of getting into like the 28 days later type time frame.
Yeah.
And so he's kind of confronted with this choice, like, do I do what they're telling me not to do? Do I leave and go make sure my daughter is safe, or do I stay home? Well, being the veteran he is in the story, he's like, nah, fuck that. Like, I'm going to go get my daughter. And then it's kind of the same way with like From the Void, like becoming a new dad. I guess maybe, I didn't think about it at the time, but I guess maybe that influenced my screenplay writing. My biggest thing when I come up with short film ideas is I like to write films based on what I know I can accomplish. So, having a 2-location shoot with a small crew is something I know I can do for a low budget.
Yeah.
So like, I'm not gonna write, like the equivalent of like, I don't want to say a Marvel movie, because like I feel like those are referenced too much to like big production.
Right.
But even like, Pulp Fiction, Jackrabbit Slims, I'm not gonna write a scene that large and in depth if I don't have the budget to do it. So generally, most of the short films I've made thus far have been 1 or 2 locations, very tight storyline, nothing that any videographer couldn't handle on their own.
So then also, like, I know that you have been really getting heavy into writing. You recently, I think, put on Iowa Film that you have like a bunch of scripts that you don't necessarily plan to produce right now. So you're kind of going to sell some of them. How has that process been?
I mean, ideally I could sell them. But I mean, if a student videographer from DMAC or Hawkeye or somebody like that approached me and was just like, hey man, I just need a solid script that I can do for a class project, like I would probably give it to them. I'm not like completely invested in a lot of those scripts like I am other ones. So, I mean, they're decent stories. They're not bad by any means, but I don't have that connection like I have to some of my other scripts. So.
Well, that, and then I know recently we were just talking about that film that you made with Damien. You made it all on an iPhone, and does it kind of bring you back to your roots when you were making music videos off your iPhone?
Yes and no. I mean, I've definitely got a lot better since then.
Right.
I mean, I had no idea about cinematography and like your, rules of the trade. Like
Right.
I had no idea what the 180 rule was. I had no idea what the rule of thirds was. I had no idea about lighting. I had no idea about any of this stuff. It was just like, oh, that looks cool, I'm going to shoot it. And for music videos, you can get away with it to a certain extent.
Right.
But I mean, if I would have tried to make a short film back then, I'm sure it would have been garbage. I mean, even the music videos that I did back then that I was initially proud of, I look back and watch now and I'm like,
Are those on YouTube for anyone to check out? Cool. That's awesome, man. I would love to see them sometime. I like to see the progress of like people when they started to, what they're doing
they're all
now.
also on my YouTube channel too. It's just youtube.com/lifeafterfilmschoolofficial.
Yeah.
So it kind of catalogs my entire run. So
From
each
beginning to
playlist
end?
is like a certain chapter. So I have life before film school, life during film school, and life after film school. And it does kind of show that progression.
Yeah.
Because the whole purpose behind that YouTube channel is I want like aspiring filmmakers to go to it and be like, oh man, like look how much he changed from this year to this year, or like look how much this short film changed from this short film to this short film he did 3 films later. So I want to be transparent to show like, hey, not everyone starts out like a prodigy. Like you're not going to make your first film and be like the next Tarantino. Like you have to work at it.
Yeah.
So
what was that process like, and what it was your decision to make this iPhone film kind of to teach the people? Like, you don't have to have, the new Sony camera or whatever. You just kind of took a guy that you knew and came up with this script that you wanted to make, and you were like, I'm just going to show people I can make it.
Yeah, so that whole film was all about troubleshooting. And I mean, obviously working with Damien on it made it 100 times easier because he, as a filmmaker himself, he knew what I was kind of like looking to do.
Right.
So like, for example, like I literally wanted to make it with just an iPhone. So we didn't record any nat sound. We didn't record any dialogue in the moment. Everything is ADR'd over top. And because I wanted to stick true to just using nothing but an iPhone, I literally had Damien record all of his lines on the voice recorder app on the iPhone and then just dropped it into the app I used to edit it as I was going along.
See, that was crazy to me. Like, you did all the editing within your phone. Like, was that even the stock footage that you had? Like,
Yeah,
was that?
so just we transferred myself the stock footage and
Wow.
put it in there. So
And I know you plan to do
like that
this-
was the only cheating I really got away with was like I can't really do these news reports with my
Right.
iPhone, so like I'm gonna just use my Storyblocks account to get some.
Yeah, that's what blew me away was the editing within a phone, man. I've never even thought you could do that level of quality through a phone, So that was pretty cool. So like, when do you kind of plan on showing the behind the scenes from that?
It's all about the time of sitting down and recording it myself. So like I said, being a father now has a new
Time frame
of
stuff you
like
can do
when
stuff.
I'm available. So it's a lot harder now to tell my wife like, hey babe, do you mind if I go upstairs and like disappear for 4 hours and like, have fun with the kid,
Right.
kind of thing.
So then how did you find out about Damien? And then Damien,
If I remember right, actually I do know the story. Damien auditioned for my first short film ever out of film school called All Roads End. Rob Merritt was also a part of it.
Oh, okay.
I think you guys touched based in it on his episode.
Yeah.
But it was the first short film I shot out of film school. It runs about 32 minutes in length. So it's a little bit longer than my other ones compared to From the Void, but it's still a short film. And he auditioned, and we had talked on the phone, and like just kind of kept in touch. And like I told him, like I kind of told him like, hey, I'm going with someone else, but do you mind if I keep your information for future projects? And he was like, yeah, no problem. So I vote like anytime I get like a really good audition, I always ask him like, hey, can I keep your information? Because even sometimes when I'm writing a new screenplay, if I have a character and they come into my head, sometimes I specifically write characters for them, which ultimately ended up happening with Damien for that cell phone film. And I was like, I already know that I want to work with Damien on this. I wrote the character specifically for him. And so.
Speaking of that, I want to know for your film From the Void, what about Wade made you, I know you said you wrote that script for him, but what about Wade exactly made you want to write that script for him?
Same thing. Wade was another actor that tried out for All Roads End, and I really liked his audition. He did really good. In fact, I guess it's been long enough I can say this. Like, it really did come between him and Rob for that role, and Rob ended up getting it. But same thing, I told Wade, I was like, hey, do you mind if I keep your information, just if I have a role for you? And when I was writing the script, Wade came into my head, and I didn't imagine anyone else playing it. And he did a tremendous job. He was able to go emotionally where I needed him to go. Like, there was one scene where he is looking at a picture frame, and you can hear the ADR of his son talking in the background. They're like at a playground and stuff. And I said, like, hey, do you think, I could get you to make yourself cry? And he was like, yeah, just give me a minute. So, like, literally, I'm looking down at my camera for like 10 seconds, and Kevin and I are going over, like, what the lighting looks like and everything else. And I look up, and he just has tears streaming down his cheek. And I just remember telling Kevin, like, oh, hurry up. Like, we got to record. We got to go. So, yeah, he super professional, definitely a great actor to work with. So,
And then being a father myself, yeah, right here, man. Being a father myself, I find it very difficult trying to follow my dreams as a filmmaker. Do you see yourself struggling down the road as your child gets older, chasing this dream and continuing to be a filmmaker? Or do you and your wife kind of have a healthy understanding? Do you think she's going to be like, I mean, I don't know if she's watching right now, but like, you know what I mean? Like, do you guys have like an understanding where you stand with this? Yeah.
Real quick, can you move that cord on your leg? It's just rubbing up against the... Is that better, Brittany? Beautiful.
just yell at me, Brittany.
Yeah. And the second thing, is that camera rolling? That one is? Okay, cool. Awesome.
Okay.
Continue.
All right. Yeah, no, even before you asked about the understanding I have with my wife, like, my wife is so awesome. She lets me do pretty much whatever I want to, like, a limit. So, I mean, like, obviously I told her about this podcast tonight, and she's at home watching our daughter, putting her to bed after working a day, herself. So usually, as long as I give her plenty of notice, or like, I do things to a certain degree of reason, she's, fully supported. She's even mentioned, like, hey, if your career does take off and we end up in Hollywood or, Arizona or Nevada or just somewhere else, she has said, like, yeah, I'm not opposed to moving or anything like that. The only thing she holds me to, though, is wherever we go, I need to already have a job in place where we can afford to live there. That's kind of my only stipulation she's put on me. But other than that, she's fully supportive, and yeah.
Whoa. That's awesome, dude.
I found a keeper, guys.
You did. That's so. I mean, I'm happy for you. I really am, because that's hard to find. That really is.
Yeah.
So, Damien, you haven't talked for the whole time.
Yeah. Why are you here?
He gets all serious now.
First off, I want to say this is the longest I've been on this particular show and not said anything.
It was awesome.
And it almost killed me.
I was so excited, man. I was like, this is the most...
This is so...
I've never sat in a room with Damien.
This is so... And for everybody that tuned in specifically to see me, I apologize for me taking so long to get here. But what was your question?
What kind of attracted you to working with Michael? Like, was it the script that you auditioned for the first time, or?
No, initially it was you. He sent me the script for the film we're going to talk about.
I think he was talking about when you auditioned for All Roads End originally.
Yeah. That was real brief. Like, the conversations that we had after, leading up to the audition and then afterwards were cool, but I hadn't really seen any of his work, and I didn't know a lot about it.
It's because I didn't have any either. And
right.
You had also, like, if I remember it, you had just moved to the area and started acting. Like, you hadn't been acting very long at that point.
No, I had been in the area
lived here.
for a while, but yeah, I had just started acting. What excited me moving forward with working with Michael was, again, you, because he contacted me, I don't know, 6 months ago, something like that, and was like, hey, I got a script, kind of thought this would be a great part for you, actually had you in mind when I was writing it, and you want to take a look at it? I said, of course. And I read the script, and it's awesome. And then I contacted you.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, this guy, Michael Minard, sent me this. What do you think of it? And you, who usually texts because you're a millennial, you actually called me. And we're like, hey, if you get a chance, you really want to work with this guy because you had seen some of his work.
Yeah.
So as much as I don't like you, I respect your
My
opinion as it relates to, particularly cinematography and film. And I like you.
The wonderful thing with me and Damien's relationship, I become part of his manager almost. He'll audition for stuff or he'll send me stuff and I'm like, oh yeah, you should work with that guy, man. Like, because I'm always like on the scene of who I like in the Iowa community, so I'm always like, yeah, man, work with that dude.
Yeah.
That dude's awesome.
Yep. And then a month and a half or so ago, he contacted me and pitched the idea about, or told me that he wanted to do a film.
Should we explain what film you're talking about first?
Oh, what's the name of it?
Dead Man Walking.
Wait, hold on.
Oh, no, I was talking about the cell phone film.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
sorry,
I still wanna go on
we'll
that
get
a
there.
little
We'll
bit
get there.
longer.
Yeah, and I was very interested in the idea. So I will periodically shoot movies on my cell phone, and I've got my
Cooking videos, by the way. Just so
some
we
are
can
cooking
clarify.
videos, some are gun stuff. Like some's some of the training that I do. None of it is good. All of it is horrible. And I kind of was interested to see how somebody who knew what they were doing would make a film on an iPhone, and I've since seen it, and I'm telling you, you wouldn't know that it wasn't shot with,
Were you nervous though, like hearing that the first time, like, oh, this guy's gonna make a movie with an iPhone? Was that like at all a turn off to you?
No.
No, it just would be for some people, like, oh, this guy's gonna be by himself, only filming.
Well, I mean, at this point, he had seen some of my work.
Right.
At this point, so like he knew at least with like a
gonna be
Sony
quality.
A7 III, I was decent.
Right,
But
yeah.
it's like also at the same time, it's like, well, you're trading in a $2,500 camera for a $1,200 iPhone. So what's it going to look like?
That's true.
So I think it was maybe a curiosity thing.
Yeah, it was. I'm always looking to learn more. Like, you had even mentioned, I haven't been in film for very long, 2.5 years at this point. So I've gotten quite a bit of work on either side of the camera, and that's super cool. But anytime somebody comes up with, hey, you want to try, I'll try anything twice, because I might do it wrong the first time. You know what I mean? So, and we had already spoken, and I was committed to Dead Man Walking, the next project we'll be working on together. So, but him and I had never really worked together yet. So I was like, this is a perfect opportunity to, it was a 1-day shoot, went up to his house. It was 2-3 hours, and we were done. And it was a real nice chance for us to get to feel each other out, not up. All right? I know.
I want to make sure. I want to clarify here.
Say physically and mentally.
There you go. Beautiful thing.
There was a lot of embracing.
I bet there was, man.
A true bromance.
Oh, I bet.
But that was a great experience. Yeah. He's very clear on what he wants. He knows the shot he wants. He knows how you want to deliver it. And he's ready to go. So again, how long is that video?
The cell phone short?
Yeah.
Maybe like 6-7 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, that's not the tiniest. That's, it's just over a micro short. But again, it was 2 or 3 hours and we knocked it out. So.
Yeah. It was, and like I said, everything's on the cell phone. So all of the ADR, like the audio is the roughest part of the film. It's the only thing I don't like.
Yep.
But I wanted to stay true to, like, if you just have a cell phone, you can make a short film. That's all I wanted to prove. So, like, yeah, I could have, gave him a lav or like a shotgun mic hooked up to like an H6 and had like really clean audio.
Right.
But it was like, no, I'm making this film specifically to show aspiring filmmakers who don't have anything whatsoever that like you can make a short film. Because initially I'd brought down like a little like 5x5 LED light to possibly use as like a hair light or something. And then I was like, wait, no, I can't use this either. Because if someone doesn't have even this like small light, then like I'm not going to be able to use it. So like a lot of that short film that we did is all backlight. So I used the natural light from the windows and put him in front of them, and then a lot of him is more your dark contrast.
Yeah.
So we just kind of used the natural light the best that we could. Luckily, we had an overcast day, so there wasn't a lot of harsh shadows, and yeah, it worked great.
Yeah, man, and like, you know, Damien's point, man, like if you didn't say that it was on an iPhone, I would have never guessed. Yeah, I think the moment you sent it to me, I didn't know it was on an iPhone. I just thought it was like a short that you guys shot or something with a regular camera, you know? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can't really tell, man, until you say it, and then you're like, oh yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
but
if you like, once you know when you watch it, you can be like, oh yeah, I guess there is like a severe lack of like depth of field.
Right.
So.
But it's still really good, man. And I've seen way worse with a real camera. So, I mean, yeah, dude, you did some really good stuff. And that kind of like all of this work that you've had into filmmaking has kind of, you're now taking on the work of making a feature film, which is, yes. I assume, something different that you've never attempted before, right? In terms of like actually producing, you might have have you written a feature before?
I have like screenplay wise,
yeah.
I have written a feature before. And actually, like, are we going chronologically here, or did you want to bring up Dead Man Walking?
We'll go chronologically. Yeah.
Okay.
Go for it.
So I did write a script called Dissonance.
Yeah.
It's a Quentin Tarantino-esque like crime, dark comedy drama. It revolves around these two brothers, where the film starts at the beginning, where their sister is being buried, and she was murdered. And she was murdered by a Chicago mob guy who basically uses his mob connections to get away with it. So basically the brothers decide, like, hey, we need to get some justice on this guy. But the thing is like, they literally are two guys from Waterloo, Iowa. So they're like, we don't know how to take down a mob boss. It seems impossible. So they go out like looking for help, looking for anyone that could possibly lead them in the right direction, but they end up just getting involved with more crime-related individuals that are selfishly looking out for their own. So this whole like week-long chaotic week takes place, and at the very end, it's just kind of this massive showdown in a Mexican restaurant. There's ATF, there's mob, there's these brothers, there's like weapons dealers. Like, it's just kind of this chaotic scene. And so it kind of has the timeline of kind of a Pulp Fiction, because you kind of follow different characters throughout the film. Right. But it does have a lot of humor in it. Things like that. So I did write that. I've even since entered it into multiple like screenplay writing awards, because I figured the script would be an easier sell for investors if it's actually an award-winning script. So keep your fingers crossed. We'll see what happens. But yeah, so that was the first feature-length film I've written. It's about 160 pages, probably around the 2.5 hour mark. Like, you've read it, like, right?
No.
Dissonance? Oh, I thought you did.
No.
Okay, maybe not.
Do you plan on doing it
like
yourself at some point?
We'll see. I have it up for sale right now, just because I was trying to raise money for Dead Man Walking. I know we keep bringing it up. I promise we will talk about it. But, and so far, I've had a lot of people look at it. I basically found the film freeway for screenplays. It's called Inktip. And basically, you put it on Inktip. They send it out to like every major production company looking for something in the genre, and they can read it, they can look at it, they can do whatever they need to do. And if they like it, then they can send you an offer and say, hey, we want to buy your script. So.
Wow. I've never even heard of that. How'd you find that website?
I Googled how to sell your screenplay.
And it was like inktip.com. That's simple enough. The internet. Anyway, so yeah, let's get into kind of like what you wanted to talk about tonight, which is Dead Man Walking. What made you want to take the jump into actually producing this feature film, which, funny enough, didn't start off as a feature film?
That's why I asked chronologically. So initially, I was trying to get Dissonance made, not this summer, but next summer. So I thought to myself, well, what a better way to get investors and people interested by making a proof of concept film. So I wrote a short film called Dead Man Walking. and it was a proof of concept film in like the exact same genre, kind of the same character feel as like other characters. But it was basically to like work out any kinks I might run into so that when I got to the feature length film, if something like that would arise, I could be like, oh yeah, we had this problem on Dead Man Walking. I can apply this fix in Dissonance and like we'll be golden. So it's kind of like not only a way to show investors like, hey, this is possible and we can make it good and we can do well in this genre, but it was also kind of like a learning experience for something for me to do to prove to myself like, yes, you can tackle a larger production, like you can do this confidently. And then I wrote a script that was good enough where I had to just keep writing it. And so that short film turned into the monster of a feature-length film that it is now. And yeah, all of you are in it.
Yeah. So what was that?
Minus you. You're not in it, but you're.
I'm part of it.
Yeah.
But what?
You're just the DP. Like
when you started to, because it's kind of a big ensemble of cast, I'd say a little bit. It's bigger than most. What was it like? Kind of, where you kind of say that you kind of write these characters for people. When you were writing this film, did you already have people in mind that you already wanted to cast?
Yep.
Would you say as a writer that's kind of more ideal, or especially maybe as a person who's casting as well, like you're wanting to write to their strengths? So
maybe not right away, but a lot of it comes to like previous auditions. So like I said, Damien tried out for All Roads End. I ended up going with someone else, but I said, hey, can I keep your information? So I will specifically say that when I had the idea for this screenplay, that Damien was the only person I imagined playing the role. Like, I needed a tough-looking guy who knows how to fight, which obviously he does. And I was like, he'd be perfect for it. Like, there's no one else that could play this role. Same thing with Dylan's character. Is he had actually auditioned for The Entity, which you had on your Halloween film festival, and we ended up going with Maddie. But same thing, I asked Dylan, I said, hey, can I keep your information for future projects? He said yes. So when I got to writing the character Ducky in Dead Man Walking, I was like, I want to give it to Dylan and see what he can do. And so it was kind of like, I don't necessarily maybe start writing the screenplay with like, I'm going to give this character to this person. It's like, as I write the character and I kind of see who they are as an individual, I'm like, who'd be perfect for that role? And then I go through the catalog of individuals in my head and I'm like, this person.
So what attracted you guys to the script, other than like, I know, it was kind of, you essentially were kind of not given the role, but it was written for you relatively. Were you immediately kind of like, oh yeah, I want to do it just because it was written for me? Or did you like kind of read it and you were like, okay, no, this is totally what I would want to do?
Well, that was actually the script he sent you and you called him and said you.
Oh, that was the one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't even think I read the script. I think I just seen your name. I think I seen your name and I was like, yeah, fucking work with him. I was like, I don't even have to read the script, man.
For all of you out there on the internet, Michael doesn't read scripts. Michael cares about shot lists, which are put together by Brittany, and Michael doesn't read scripts.
When did this become a roast all of a sudden? Answer the damn question. Thank
you. I don't know how much Michael wants to get into it, so I won't really expound on.
Fire away, man.
If
I feel like you're crossing the line, I'll stop.
It's a ridiculously awesome character. I play kind of an absolute badass who has had a horrible day and is going to rectify that horrible day with the people who are responsible for that horrible day. And I get quite a bit of that along the way. That all rhymed. It was awesome. But yeah.
Rapper.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
And to answer your question, that's why he's here, is to plug Dead Man Walking.
Yeah.
I know why you're here.
Yep. It's a once in a career character. Like, yeah, I get to be a very, very bad man. And I couldn't be more excited for it. Like, again, from the second I read it, I was like, yep.
Yeah, well, when he contacted me wanting me to be in his movie, he'd be stupid to say no. He makes these two Michaels here make the best movies in Iowa. There's other phenomenal filmmakers in Iowa, don't get me wrong, but these two, you gotta be in. If they reach out to you, don't say no. just no. But Ducky though is
Yeah, Brittany does it all.
yeah, she does though. You know what? That's really true though.
I just edit them.
Michael's a phenomenal editor and cinematographer, but Brittany, you know, we don't give you enough credit. You're a phenomenal director though. You know, it does. Ducky though is you know, one of the biggest drug dealers in town. You know, I'm Damien's drug dealer. I'm the whole mafia's drug dealer. You know, you come to me if you want some good shit, man. You know, deep down inside, you know, it's gonna be kind of easy for me to play. I'm Ducky. Just saying.
Was there any more?
That's all me, man.
No, I will say one thing too. Like this film too is kind of like make or break in a way for everyone involved. Like to my knowledge, and I'm not saying this arrogantly, I just haven't seen it. There's not very many filmmakers, at least in the state of Iowa, that's like focused on like crime, action, drama. To at least my knowledge, if there is, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I don't.
So I think it's going to be kind of like an original movie for this area. But then, like, really, I got so lucky with everyone involved. Like, I literally have like a list of A-team actors involved in the project. Like, super lucky to find you guys to help me out and do it. And yeah, I really want this film ultimately, not even for like me as a filmmaker, but for everyone involved. Like, I want it to open doors for everyone, like in the big leagues or something. Like, so yeah, when we get this film completed, hopefully we have a big enough budget to make it happen.
Well, that's what I want to talk about. Two things. One, try to explain what the film is overall, and then kind of talk about why you wanted to approach doing crowdfunding opposed to just trying to finance it yourself.
I don't make enough money to finance it myself, which is why I approach crowdfunding.
Makes sense.
Crowdfunding is actually not my first choice. It's a very fickle game.
Yeah.
I feel like there's no right way to do it, and people that advertise trying to sell you their knowledge on, I run the most successful crowdfunding campaigns. I don't think they really know what they're doing either. At least like in the film industry. Like if I was like some guy that came up with like a medical device, like a brand new pacemaker, like I could probably get over my budget in order to make it because it's like a physical object, like it's a thing. But like when you have like a short film or films, like people don't care. Like, I mean, it's like they want like the materialistic thing. So like even a lot of the crowdfunding is me, like just like hitting the streets, approaching family, friends, people that I've met, like investors who have reached out to me and saying like, hey, I'm interested in like supporting you, that kind of thing. But yeah, there's no like easy way to do crowdfunding that I've figured out, at least in filmmaking. Like I said, if you have a product, like a physical product, it's a lot easier. But like, if you're just saying, you know, like, hey, give me your money and let me make a movie, it's like, it's a lot harder of a sell.
Did you have the debate when kind of going for crowdfunding to do Kickstarter or GoFundMe, and why did you go more for GoFundMe other than Kickstarter?
Well, I ended up going with Indiegogo.
Indiegogo, that's
yeah.
Sorry.
I did do a Kickstarter for All Roads End, and that goal, which I remind myself because I'm making successful leaps. So when we did the Kickstarter, we were asking for $2,000. We didn't even come close. I think we had like maybe $800. But the thing about Kickstarter is you don't get to keep any of it. So like if you don't meet your goal, then it's just
it's all or nothing.
It's a wash, right?
Yeah.
So Indiegogo lets you keep what you actually make, even if it's like under your goal. So that's part of the reason why, is because I was like, well, you know, even, you know, $2,000 better than $10,000, that kind of thing. But it's kind of funny though, because I broke my old goal. So when I was doing All Roads End and I had no experience whatsoever, we made like $800. now that we're doing a film where we're aiming for 10 grand, we're at like 2,700.
And do you think that has just come with like your experience in filmmaking and kind of like
That and-
your name in the community?
I don't know so much about the community. Because I mean, I try to let my work speak for itself, but I don't really talk to a whole lot of the community besides like the people that are here.
Right.
So, I mean, I know that, like, I don't necessarily know like what's said about my work other than that people seem to enjoy it. But winning the amount of film festivals with like the few fans I've had has kind of been a physical representation of like, oh man, this guy does good work. Like we, you know, hey, we should give this guy a chance or whatever it may be. I mean, I don't know. I haven't like really asked people about it because deep down inside I actually hate selling myself, which is part of the reason why I brought Damien on. So,
Well, he's doing a great job selling it for you.
he's like, you are super quiet. It's actually weird.
Oh, you never shut up.
There's
There's not a whole lot I can do. I don't want to cut anybody off. That's rude.
I didn't know your face was on the poster. I'm sorry.
But yeah, so you got anything, Dylan? Let me look at my notes here.
Bring in the notes.
Bring in the notes. So Kevin was originally actually supposed to be on the show today, but we don't have enough microphones. So
Sorry.
Should we? I can move out of the way real quick. Kevin, come on and ask his question.
Yeah.
you want to? We'll air it in. Okay. So so you made the entity, which premiered on the Halloween Film Festival. Talk a little bit about that film, and let me see here.
I guess we could go into that because going back to your crew question, I do generally work with the same people.
Yes. Hold on. Sorry.
He had a very specific question. He was really excited for it too.
Yeah. So.
I wanted to bring him on to ask it.
So with spoiler warning, if you haven't seen it, which it's
You
not.
can spoil it. It's fine.
Okay, so at the end, right, he says, "Good slave," and like, what did that mean necessarily? Was there some hidden meaning behind that, or?
Yeah. So it's kind of a mistake and a blessing in disguise all at the same time. So the original script, which we found out on the day of shooting, wasn't going to work. So the entire last act, if you will, was basically improv by everyone there.
Wow.
So in the original script, Ricky shows up to meet Maddie in the car, get in, have the exact same conversation, and then in the movie you hear a scream, and he's like, "You have someone trailing us," and then Maddie freaks out and runs away. In the original script, Maddie says, "It's her." And he goes, "What do you mean?" And he goes, "She's in the trunk." So in the script, Ricky would walk slowly around to the trunk, open up the trunk, and she would leap out and like jump on top of him. So basically you found out in the script that when Maddie was explaining that he was at Mikey's party and she, you know, started convulsing and moaning and everything else and was like attacking people,
Right.
that the reason why he's the sole survivor is that she left him alive in order to basically be her, like her driver to find her more food. So when she walks around and says that line in Romanian, "Slave, good slave, still hungry," it means, hey, you've done your part, but unfortunately for you, I'm still fucking hungry, so I'm going to drink your blood. So then she jumps on top of him. Problem is we really wanted to use that 66 Cadillac because it was
Beautiful.
amazing.
Yeah.
But it's a convertible, so there's no trunk, which we didn't know until we got the shooting. So it was like, oh, well, we can't really put Stephanie in a car with no trunk, so what do we do? And I think it was Maddie that came up with the idea. He's like, well, what if we just have her like, she followed me here, and then we just changed the script a little bit. And that's what we did.
Yeah, and then man, it was you and like Kevin have very cool cinematography, and that's what I loved about this film that we just watched tonight, and then that film. Like you have a very cinematic style. What was sort of
It's don't get me wrong when I say this. Like I'm super excited to work with you and Brittany on Dead Man Walking.
Yeah.
But when Kevin took a break in the community for a while, there was like a huge hole in my heart.
Well, Kevin's so talented,
that
man.
has not been filled back up.
Yeah,
yet.
dude.
Like,
Kevin is so talented.
Kevin,
man.
if you're listening,
We love
I
you.
hate you, but I love you at the same time.
Yeah, man. He just did some orchestral like
I saw
song.
that,
was
yeah.
crazy, man. And he's like, I talked to him recently, and he's like developing a video game, and like that's crazy.
Yeah.
I think he's just such a genius who does a lot of things.
We don't deserve him.
All right, he's too good, man.
He is. He's too good. Kevin is just going to do what Kevin wants now.
That's true, man.
Which
And
is
he's
good.
gonna kill it.
Which is what we all want.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
true.
I'm just saying.
Life lessons with Damien.
Life lessons with
Mancino.
Damien, man.
Well, when you get a little older.
That's how you should
little-
close every podcast.
Yeah.
Grinds my gears.
One of the other reason I'm so super excited about this project in particular is because I believe him. Like, I believe that this is going to be the thing where after this movie comes out and goes through some festivals and hopefully gets picked up for distribution, that's what we're looking at. That my non-manager having ass is going to get a call from somebody and be like, hey, saw you in that awesome film. How about we pay you to act? And, no, I know. I wasn't talking about you. I just, yeah. And to that point, there's so many people in Iowa that act and don't really make a living doing it. And I, for one, am fine with it. Like, I'm constantly honing my craft. I don't really turn down much as it relates to roles. And I've done that to this point to get to this point. So,
Lost feed. Oh, great. That's the good old classic Sony A7 III with the overheating. We still have audio feed, right? Yeah. Okay, well, they're going to continue to fix that while we... No, you don't have to switch the camera. Just turn it off. No, don't do that.
No, I agree with Damien, though. Like, I really feel like this is going to be...
No, it's okay. We'll just switch out a battery and be all right.
No, I agree with Damien. I feel like this is going to be the movie that, for a lot of us, we're going to start seeing a lot more work. No pressure.
Yeah, you were in Spider-Man, dude.
I mean, I know, man. I get noticed sometimes in Spider-Man. I went to my local gas station and had one random dude come up to me. He's like, hey, Spider-Man. And I was like, oh, that's cool. But no, what I see happening here is I keep getting typecast as the bad guy. I'm going to keep getting typecast as the stoner now after this. I just see it happening.
Try, but it's a different lens.
Bryce work those characters out together.
No, me too. Me and Bryce, we keep talking, and we're coming up. We went from originally we were gonna be. He was gonna be like the follower, and I was gonna be the leader. But we are now just like BFFs. We're just like the buddy stoners.
Well, that was what I liked about adding to your part of the script, is like expanding on your characters, kind of like giving you arcs to a certain extent. Where like in the proof of concept film or like the short film, you guys had like no character arc whatsoever.
Right.
Like you just basically played. You were basically Monty's way at figuring out what the hell was going on. So
Right.
like you were vital to the story, but like
One-dimensional.
you as characters didn't have any dimension to them whatsoever. So when we expanded on that, I really enjoyed that quite a bit.
No, I love what you did with Ducky and Kevin, though. It kind of changed the tone of the movie a little bit.
Yeah, like a little bit, but I think there's still enough drama in there. It's not
Right.
like completely a comedy, but
Right.
yeah.
Guys, keep filling it.
Okay.
I just thought, this is serious, all right? We're being serious for a second. I like pizza.
Oh my.
Right? No, but it's got to be flat crust pizza. And here's the thing. Everybody out there, like you're talking about taco pizza or buffalo chicken pizza. If it doesn't have marinara on it, it's not pizza. And if it's got thick crust, it's an open-faced sandwich or a casserole. That's all I got.
What are your thoughts on chicken Alfredo?
And he's from Jersey, so he knows what good pizza is.
First of all, nobody likes Jersey. Second of all, it's not pizza. It's an open-faced sandwich because it's got Alfredo sauce instead of marinara.
Nah.
I'm not saying it's not good.
I do love good chicken Alfredo.
I'm not saying it's not good. I'm just saying to call it pizza is erroneous and blasphemous and wrong, and you're probably going to go to hell for it.
So it's just an open-faced sandwich?
It's
then?
an open-faced sandwich.
I'll go to hell for it anyway. It's warm, and I'm going to know people there.
No, the best pizza out there is 100% simple margarita pizza. Or pepperoni and mushroom, but, and it's got to be cut in a pie. Like, cutting it in a grid is ridiculous. You have all those pieces in the middle with no crust on the outside. Communism, dude.
Communism.
It's not.
Michael, I
okay.
got a question for you. So originally, when you approached all of us with this short film idea for Dead Man Walking, you randomly was like, I think I'm just going to do it. I'm going to turn this into a feature film. So tell us, go into more detail about what made you change your mind into making this into a feature film.
Really the feedback from all of you guys. Like you and Maddie and Bryce had all made the joke like, hey, you should do like a sploof movie of like Ducky and Kevin's adventure. Like, you know, up to meeting Monty or like before meeting Monty or after meeting Monty or whatever it was in the script. And like the more I thought about it and then the more I had ideas even for like Monty and Sully's characters and things like that, it was just like, why don't I just do that? Like, why do I have to like wait to do this? Like, let's just try to bust it out and make it happen. And so it was a fun writing experience. I think as far as scripts, like, it's kind of hard to judge your own scripts because, like, obviously you'll get tremendous feedback from people in the industry that have done it for a while. But I noticed when going through it, I would say Dead Man Walking is probably my most well-paced script I've ever written. It doesn't, like, drag. It doesn't lag. There's not, like, any lulls momentarily or anything like that. Yeah. Kevin, we good? Do I got to keep talking?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah, we're gonna. Okay. All right. Can you hear us, Michael?
Yeah, we can hear you. Now we can see you.
Hey, we're back.
Hey.
Hey.
You just got to focus it.
But if I touch it, will it?
It's fine.
Don't touch it.
Keep
Well,
talking.
holy cow. I didn't know I was the one that me and a couple other people inspired you to make a feature film.
Yeah. Talking to you guys, hearing your feedback is kind of what did it. So.
I got a question. Was part of you wanting to expand into a feature also because you were right earlier, and this is not me talking about me, but like a great cast. A great cast from, you know, these guys to some of the ancillary characters we're bringing on. You know what I mean? Some of the supporting characters, some of the, I don't want to say extras because they're not, they have speaking lines, but they're not major characters, but they're going to fit their roles in this film so well, why would you not?
Yeah, like I said, I got lucky that everyone I talked to said yes. Because I mean, I really do feel like we got some of the A-list Iowa talent, like across the state, involved in the film. But not even just that, like, yes, touching base on like Dead Man Walking, but like a couple of shout outs to like all of my previous films. Like we've already mentioned like Kevin Thorne. He's been my ride or die DP for like the first 3 films I've done until he did die, and now Kevin's
Now it's Michael.
Kevin's ascended into
Careful
greatness.
what happened to the last DP.
you're
What
wrong.
I'm saying.
Kevin's ascended into greatness and left me behind in his shadow. No, I love him. I'm happy for him. Super happy for him. And then, you know, Eric Benson, he gave me my first shot really with Bus Stop Productions, which I'm super grateful to him. But then even just like everyone I've met along the way, like when I was doing All Roads End and I knew I needed like special effects makeup and things like that, I was working at Lowe's at the time. That was my college job that I was working part-time at when I was in school. And I told a coworker that I was a filmmaker, and she basically...
Is it still black?
She basically said, yeah. Well, anyway, I'm going to ramble
going.
on while you're going.
Oh, yeah. Don't touch the mic.
So she basically said, like, oh, you're a filmmaker? Like, I do special effects makeup. And she did it just for fun. Like I literally told her after doing All Roads End, I was like, you at least need to make like a Facebook page or something so that like people know you're out there. which she has since done, but like she did the zombie and hollow walls where she made it look like half of Megan's face got ripped off and she had like the white piercing contacts in her eyes. And she did Stephanie and the Entity, which ended up winning Best Monster, and I gave that trophy to Becca because she earned it. And so I mean, like even just people you run into, like utilizing people I went to school with, like in From the Void, like Ty Belfi lit that, who was like a classmate of mine, and now he actually teaches at Hawkeye and like lighting and stuff. Absolute genius. And then Brian Bryson, who has scored every single one of my films. He's a composer from Boston. Like literally I met him by chance. Like I literally just asked one day, like, hey, does anyone know anyone that, you know, does film compositions? And like a classmate of mine was like, I know this guy named Brian who lives in Boston. And like he and I have worked together ever since, and he's super incredible, super good. He's definitely on my wavelength when it comes to ideas. Like I'll send him a random song like, hey, what if we do something like that over this part? And he'll send me like a WAV file back and it almost sounds identical. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So like, yeah, I've just been blessed with the people that I've met along the way. Like I could not at all fully take credit for any success that I've had in film, like in the awards and film festivals, anything like that. Cause it's like what Brittany said jokingly earlier, it's like, it's a team effort, and it is. And like without them, like I wouldn't have anything. So, yeah.
I wanted to talk about festivals.
And also anyone I missed, I'm sorry. But
yeah, there's probably a lot of them. But I wanted to talk about festivals, man, because I feel like I have such a different like take on festivals from you. I've always been a person who likes to make the film and release it right away. Was your mindset always sort of on trying to do the festival route, or?
Yeah, I was taught when I first started filmmaking that like festivals is where you like prove your weight in the industry. Like whether it's a big festival, small festival, it's really kind of where you get like recognition for like the work you do. And when I put Hollow Walls, like my first short film I did after All Roads End, which is now in the film festivals now, it's going to be Iowa Motion Picture Awards, things like that. So that'll be coming up. But when I did Hollow Walls, which is kind of my first independent project, like outside of working directly with Bus Stop, it was just kind of in association with, but it was like the first kind of created film where literally it was just me and Kevin. Like we did everything. And I finally had a finished product that I thought was good enough, and I started putting it in festivals. I didn't actually think I was going to win anything. Like, if anything, I thought it was going to be like a complete humbleizer and just be like, you fucking suck, sit the fuck down. But like within the first couple of weeks of like having Hollow Walls run the circuit, like the very first festival I entered, we won. And it was like best short film. And I was like, what? And it was in Montreal. Like, I'll never forget it. So like my first win was in MIF, unfortunately, not TIFF, but we won the Montreal International Film Festival.
Yeah.
And we had best short film. And I was like, oh my God, like I was not expecting this. And then that film alone ended up winning like, I think 22 awards.
Dang.
And so it was just kind of like, it was kind of a relief, honestly, because I was expecting for people to just be like, dude, you're garbage, like stay in Iowa. But it was kind of like an eye opener for me, because it was like, no, like people internationally think like you're good enough to at least do what you want to do. And it even opened some doors for me. Like, I jokingly say that I took home gold in Tokyo at the same time as the Summer Olympics, because we won the Tokyo International Film Festival at the exact same time that the Olympics were going on. And literally I've had emails and people approach me being like, hey, we saw your film in the Tokyo International Film Festival. I have a clothing company. Would you want to make a commercial for me?
Wow.
And I'm like, yeah, sure. Like, you want to send me some merchandise or whatever? Like, I'll make a commercial for you. So like, even even though it's not Sundance, even though it's not Toronto, even though it's not Cannes, it's like, because of those smaller film festivals, people have seen them and have reached out to me and be like, hey, like, do you want to do a job for us? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, it does have its benefits, like, both ways. Like, yeah, it's a smaller film festival. You get a laurel, like, it looks cool, on a movie poster. But then at the same time, people have approached me and have, like, given me money to do projects for them. So, I mean, either way, it's kind of a win. So
I wanted to talk about, again, sort of having that team that you've crafted. What advice would you give to people who are kind of first starting off making films and trying to build that team?
Well, first off, do it yourself. Oh,
sorry. You need the mic, man.
First off, do it yourself. Because if you, like, so let me put it this way. Sorry. Okay. I have COVID, by the way. Okay. No. Build the confidence that you can do any project yourself. Because once you know that you can do it yourself, once you have a team, it just makes you even more confident. So like when I was a film student, I'm not going to say any names. A lot of people like were good. They were interested, but a lot of groups, like it felt like I always got stuck with 2 or 3 people that did not care about the lesson. And it got to the end of like college where like they just knew if they were on my team, they were going to get an A because I would just ultimately do it by myself because I wanted to turn in good work. So in college, I hated working with other people and I just preferred to do everything myself. So I gained the confidence I needed to know like, hey, you can do this yourself. Like, I mean, case in point, working with Damien, like, yeah, he was my talent. Like he was my actor, but as far as like filming, editing, everything like that, like he didn't have to do anything but like listen to my direction. And like, I knew I could do that myself. I mean, it was easy. We had a great time. Yep. Then once that happens is what I'm saying is like, when you start piecing together a crew, like give everyone a shot. Absolutely. Be willing to work with anyone you can. But like I said, after a while, like you'll start finding people you trust. And like the biggest thing, which I mentioned earlier is like, if I look at you and I ask you like, hey, you have the shot, I'm not going to babysit you. I'm not going to walk over there and check myself. Like I'm going to trust you that you have the shot. Mm-hmm. So if it's a case where like you're working with someone, you get back to the studio and then all of a sudden you realize everything in their camera is out of focus and you can't use any of it. Okay, well,
sounds like a
first
horrible
time,
man.
like first time, that's shame on you because you didn't check it. But if you let it happen again, like, well, I should say first time is shame on them. Second time is shame on you because if you let it happen again, then you're not obviously learning anything. So,
right.
And I mean, it depends on what role like you want to play as well. Like, if you just want to be a cinematographer, if you just want to have a camera in your hands or be like a first AC or something, it's like, well, master that craft.
Yeah.
But it's like, if you want to be a director and you want to be a filmmaker, like you're going to have to very quickly learn that like you are going to have to micromanage to a certain extent, like, but politeful.
You just make up a word.
Politeful, politely. But
sorry.
Oh yeah, politely. Sorry. Yeah, okay. You're not being very politeful.
I know. I'm not very politeful overall.
But yeah, so like just politely, and then you also have to understand that not everyone speaks the
I would
same.
have rolled with it, man. I'm just saying, it sounded real.
So like, not everyone's gonna understand the same language either. So like, I might say one thing to Kevin, he totally gets it. I might say the same thing to Brittany, and she's like, "Wait, what?"
Right.
So like, you have to understand how to talk to certain people, and then not only that, but like super respectful at all times. I try to carry that everywhere on set, everywhere I go. Like whether it be working with male characters, female characters, I treat everyone the same. Just that kind of things. You have to understand that even if you might be slightly scared or embarrassed at first to try to take command of the set, that ultimately everyone there wants you to, because everyone wants a sense of direction. Mm-hmm. And if you're kind of just sitting there like, I don't really know, guys, like, what do you think about this? Like, it's not a bad thing. Like for me, All Roads End was a lot of that. because I was kind of feeling out my first film. I knew what I wanted, but I wasn't quite vocal yet. And then after that is when I was really like, okay, I'm going to do this my way from now on, and things like that. So just like, I guess if I was going to give any advice to starting filmmakers is like, continuously do it. Do not stop. Whether you're doing it by yourself, whether you're doing it with a group of people, because the more you do it, the more you're going to build confidence, and the more confident you get, the better your projects are going to be. And that's just where I've been lucky enough to make that happen so far. So.
Well, it's awesome, man. And I think that's some really solid advice, and that's very similar to what I would tell people too, man. Keep going and keep making stuff.
So you're another filmmaker that went to film school, and what I like to ask a lot of people is, do you recommend film school? Like Michael and I have not went to film school.
I didn't even go to high school.
Same. I dropped out.
Is this something you would really recommend? Do you feel like you truly learned like a lot? Do you feel like if you didn't go to film school, you'd be as good as you are now?
Good question. There's literally only one difference. I can apply for a $60,000 a year job with a degree and get it. Whereas you being self-taught, even though you might be amazing, they're more likely going to go with me because I have that piece of paper. That is literally the only difference. Like, there is Tarantino's out there that his film school famously was video archives. Like,
Right.
he watched movies all day. That's what he did. And so he quickly discovered, hey, this is what cinema looks like. This is great. I can do this. And so we did it. And then there's people that like, well, I want to get really in depth. So I want to do a thriller and I want to make the viewer feel uneasy. So how can I do that? I could do it, over top lighting with dark shadows under their eyes. And I can put the camera, at like a vertical angle to give it like a Dutch angle and make it seem uneasy and off balance. And I could really get into, the art of cinema to achieve this look because they understand the science behind it. But then there's also people like you guys who watch the science behind it, and you can just look at a scene and be like, this makes me feel uncomfortable. And I know the reason why is because it looks like this. Whereas, so like, I don't want to say it's like worth it. It just depends on like what the end goal is. Like what I wouldn't suggest, and like I am going to name drop people, is I wouldn't suggest paying like $900 to Eric Thane for cinematography lessons, like on Facebook. But like if you want the piece of paper and you want the degree as far as like, hey, if my film career doesn't work out, I want that legitimacy to like land a job.
Right.
Like, yeah, it helps. But if you're just like, I'm going to be a filmmaker no matter what, I don't need education, like then yeah, sure. I mean, whatever floats your boat, like everyone's different, but I can say one thing, which is probably going to create some controversy. Most of the people that don't think they need film school aren't as good as they think they are. And I don't know if that like creates controversy, but to me it might be
my feelings are hurt.
But see that's the thing too, is like you do find like those diamonds out there, like you and Brittany, like you watch, like, I mean, there's a difference between like, I'm a filmmaker and I didn't go to film school. And then like you watch what they did and you're like, you probably should go to film school. But then there's like a difference between like, hey, I'm a local filmmaker, like self-taught, check out what I did, guys. And then like you watch it and you're like, oh my gosh, like this is really good. Yeah. So filmmaking, part of the reason why I like it is black and white. Like you either got it or you don't. And like you can interpret art differently. So I mean, obviously there's a big difference between like a French New Wave film from the 60s and like a Michael Bay film. Right. So like if you don't know anything about art, you might be like, well, obviously the Michael Bay film's better. Like look at the effects, look how great it looks. But it's like, so there is like a big difference interpreting art. But I just feel like as far as filmmaking, there's a certain degree of like you either got it or you don't. And it's very like easy to see. Like you can point it out almost immediately.
Yeah.
Bad Boys 2 is one of the best documentaries ever made.
Documentary?
It's a documentary. It's about two cops, Yeah, it's a documentary. I love Michael Bay. I know Transformers is hot garbage, but some of the other stuff he's done and the way he shoots,
I was
I'm
gonna
telling
say,
you.
speaking of Michael Bay, though, I do have to say that I still cry at the end of Armageddon.
Oh my God! Me and my old lady just watched this
I have-
2 weeks ago, and
I
both
have-
of us are like, "I can't believe I'm crying over." Bruce
No, it's not even the Liv Tyler part. Like, I don't care about Liv Tyler.
No,
at all.
it's Bruce Willis talking on the camera, and they have that whole bay of TV set up.
not even that part that gets me every time.
It's funny.
Is when he shows Ben Affleck back in the elevator.
See, that's
Rips off his patch, puts it in his pocket, and he's
"Make
like,
sure Truman
he's
gets
like,
this."
make sure Truman gets this, and then he goes, like Ben Affleck's like crying. He's like, no, Harry, no, and he's like, it's your turn to take care of Gracie now, and then he goes up the elevator, and I'm like, just every single
idea.
time.
Yeah, speaking of another magnificent documentary, when they say, telling you, Michael Bay's underrated. Like, again, I know he did the Transformers. Every one of them is 3 hours of explosions that is boring. I don't know how you do that.
I do like the Shia LaBeouf Transformers movie, I'll admit.
The first one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like Pain and Gain is fantastic. The Bad Boys franchise, particularly Bad Boys 2, fantastic. The Rock, are you kidding me? The documentary about them escaping from prison. I'm telling you, yeah, that's all the guy does. Michael, and then like when you start looking at it from the perspective of like the angles he takes, the lighting that he uses, like some of the action is unbelievable. The guy's an artist. Sorry.
I can't wait to make this documentary about Maddie shooting you in the face.
That's what I'm saying. Oh, I can't wait to get shot. Wait.
I really hope we do the bathrooms and the underwear.
Yeah.
Don't
We'll
spoil.
see about that, though.
We got.
We'll see.
Yeah.
All right,
Because of
so-
the opening.
As we get close to wrapping up here, go ahead and kind of promote the stuff that you want people to check out, and then also let them know where, if they want to support the film, where they can go to do that.
So my personal like YouTube full of a bunch of projects I've done throughout the years, both bad and good. It's just, excuse me, youtube.com/Life After Film School official. Yes, Life After Film School official. And you can find pretty much everything I've put my hands on that's been released so far. As far as Dead Man Walking, we have like little over 2 weeks of crowdfunding left. We're not anywhere near our goal, so we might have to make some script changes or just figure out how we can work around it.
Because are you going to make the film sort of regardless, but like you want to make the
So, like,
ideal film
I'm
with
invested
being funded?
enough the way it is, and like everyone else is so invested enough the way it is. And we'll talk more about it Sunday.
Yeah.
But I think I'm going to try to just like work around the budget issue, or like just try to make it happen. But at the same time, there is a link, I think, in the description.
Yeah, we have it. If you
where
guys go
people-
there, you
where
can.
people can check out the Dead Man Walking crowdfund. So just like that Bernie Sanders meme, I am once again asking for you to give me your money. And I mean, like even if it's
Calm
like
down.
$10, like it helps.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, every bit, man,
That's
you know,
a pizza. I'm just
it is.
Like I can afford to feed Damien, which is not cheap.
It's not.
But with your
Anything
$10, I'm
I
happy.
mean, as long as you have pizza, he'll be all right.
only if it's good. I'm gonna make him eat chicken Alfredo pizza every day.
Or taco pizza.
And here's the thing, I'm gonna be mad about it, but
He gonna eat it.
Dylan and I
yeah,
will
no,
really
ain't
love
proud.
chicken Alfredo.
I ain't proud. I'll eat it. I'm a bitch the whole time. But so can I promote the movie now?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So I got a buddy of mine that looks like Bruce Willis banged Danny DeVito and they had a baby. That's what my buddy looks like, right? This
About the Asian sensation.
no. Eric looks like a little tiny Japanese man banged a bulldozer and they had a baby. That's what Eric looks like. But this movie is like the short series Happy banged both John Q and Goodfellas. And if that's a movie that you want to see, throw a couple of dollars at it, man. I'm telling you. Like, there isn't much that it doesn't have. And we've referenced Tarantino several times. And there's a very Tarantino-esque feel to it as far as there is your proper dose of appropriate violence and blood. And then there's humor. And then there's plot twists. And there might even be a tiny bit of romance in there somewhere. Like, this is a really good film. And if, you like watching films that are rewatchable, listen, There Will Be Blood is a great film. If I got to throw on a movie to clean around the house, I'm not putting it on. You know what I'm putting on? Bad Boys 2. You know what I mean? I'm putting on a movie where I know I'm going to repeat the lines with my friends. And I think it's just awesome, and it's well shot and acted and written and produced. And that's what this film is going to be. Unfortunately, you don't make movies out of fairy dust. So, yeah, if you guys are interested in seeing something like this and helping a bunch of people that are incredibly passionate about this, like I said, get on there, throw a couple dollars on it.
Is there any way, like, in the post edit, you could, like, as soon as Damien starts talking, like, you can have that, like, Sarah McLachlan song come on, like, in the arms of an angel.
Yeah.
My childhood, man.
No, yeah, guys, please do what you can to help out with this movie. Like he was saying, we have an A-list team. We have some of the best actors in Iowa involved with this. You guys won't be disappointed. And if you can just swing a couple bucks, we're at what, 2,700. We want to try to get to 10 grand. Like he said, we'll probably make the movie regardless, but with your help, the cast and crew will get paid, which doesn't happen too often here in Iowa, so it will be a really great reward for everybody involved, because it's a feature film, and for those of you who may be watching that doesn't really know what that means is we're going to be dedicating a lot of time. A lot of us here have day jobs, we have families, so we're going to be away from our families. We're going to be working our day jobs and doing the second day job. We're going to be working our butts off.
Yeah, our second full-time job.
Our second full-time job. So we're going to be working hard. So you guys supporting this film project will definitely...
And to that point, if you have $10,000, we will take that too. Like, I don't want you to think, like, if you got 10 grand burning a hole in your pocket, you don't need to send us $10. Send the 10 grand. We'll gladly accept that.
If someone gives us 10K, we're going to give them like 2% of the film when we sell it to distribution.
There you go.
Yep.
All right, man. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on and hanging out. And Michael, it's finally good to have you on here, man, and hearing your story. It's been really cool and motivational. And I think that's been another great episode of Indie Social.
I'm also glad From the Void premiered not once, but twice.
Twice, man. That's what you
Second
get here at Indie Social.
time
You get
is the
camera
charm.
fucks up. Wow.
Fucks ups.
Fucks up. I'm creating words too, man. That's why we're a good team.
We do it right because we do it twice.
There you go. All right.
Yeah, so our next episode is going to be February 24th. We'll announce the guest on our Indie Social page. Guys, stay tuned because we have another fantastic guest coming on. I'll be announcing another film project that I'm going to be in because our next guest is also in that film project. Yeah. That's a little secret. It's exciting, guys. It's another big project. Not sure if it's a feature film or a short film. Probably going to be a short film, but I don't know. I don't even know. But guys, thanks for tuning in to Indie Social premiere.